Without Borders, just 2% of snakebite victims in sub-Saharan Africa get access to quality antivenoms. This is usually necessitated by the fact that snakebite victims take a long time from the site where they've been bitten towards getting health facilities that can be able to treat their snake bites. In areas like Nguni, Kitui County, that distance is usually quite staggering.
It's the reason why Esther's life was spared, but not her limb. After 2 months in hospital, her leg had to be amputated.
I was fearful, but the doctors convinced me to agree.
I accepted it as the will of God.
The type of snake that bit Esther is among a group of species considered the deadliest in Kenya. Even though scientists say 80% of snakes are not venomous, they warn against coming across the following snakes in Kenya: the puff adder, the black mamba, the green mamba.
And it has a slender long head, which is coffin-like shaped, with a small round eye, and a smiling face, but deadly.
The Gabon viper, boomslang snake, the forest cobra, the mountain viper, rhinoceros viper, brown spitting cobra, the red spitting cobra, and the twig snake, which, by the way, has no antivenom to date.
Why is there no antivenom for them?
So that is why we are here. The guys who have been doing antivenom haven't included this one. They fall into same categories like boomslang, yeah, the venom. But at the moment, we don't use boomslang antivenom to treat this, yeah. So they are really venomous, but they take time before they bite.
These are the type of snakes you do not want to come across. The deadliest among them is the black mamba, which accounts for the quickest death by a snake bite in the world. Its bite kills within 45 minutes, and that is if you're lucky. Often, its venom kills much faster. In Kenya, black mambas are widespread, but they are commonly found in Baringo County, where they have claimed the lives of countless residents. And so, we took a trip to arguably Kenya's deadliest county when it comes to snake inhabitants. The beauty of Kerio Valley is characterized by the lush green vegetation spread across acres of land. However, a closer look at the greenery reveals the danger that lurks below. Experts attribute the increased number of snakes in the area to global warming, which has enabled the reptiles to come out of their hiding in search of water.
The cobras during the hot season, this place is a hot place. So the cobras, the mambas, because of the nature of the place, it's a hot place, the hilly keeps them a place to camouflage, becomes home for them.
With nearly 100 snakebite cases in Marigat town just this year alone, the epicenter for this troubling tropical disease is where we find a man soldiering in a battle not many would be willing to forge. 73-year-old Walter Keegan has been a traditional snake handler in the area for decades. When we meet him, he tells us he had just caught a dangerous black mamba on his own just 3 days earlier. Every snake Mzee Keegan catches is like a trophy to him. As I'm about to sit down with the man feared and revered in equal measure by the residents here, he insists that the interview will only begin if his snake is near him. With the snake still trapped in his bag and clearly agitated, I reluctantly agree to this very uncomfortable situation.
Nilikuwa nashikanga nyoka kwa wiki mbili 40. Nilianza kama hata sijaoa bibi mpaka saa hii watoto ni wengi. Hakuna msitu.
But what's about to happen next is no laughing matter.
Okay.
Our interview is soon interrupted. This woman needs the help of Walter Keegan because she says she has spotted a snake inside her house.
Okay. Okay, so it appears Mzee Walter Keegan has just been called for a snake bite. A snake, I believe. We really don't know what's happening, but let's just follow him, find out what's going on. Let's just follow him.
Snake sightings in Kaptara village, Baringo County are very common. And Keegan, who began capturing snakes in 1968, is always on call to help capture the slithering serpents whenever the need arises. It's an earnest search for a wild animal that has caused pain and suffering to many here. The snake being sought after is a house snake like this one. They are scary but are not considered venomous. Keegan doesn't fear snakes, but that doesn't mean he's been immune to their vicious bite. He has been bitten once in the past, but has since been very cautious in handling the more deadly species.
Mimi napepa ile chuma nyeupe mfuko na hii kamba yangu napanga, alafu nakwenda kata miti nafungia hii basi, alafu mimi nateka na shingo. Baada ya kushika na ile nateka na shingo yake, au nikipata kama yanatulia polepole tu, kwa sababu yeye si mchokozi. Mimi naweza kunyemelea polepole mpaka niingiza kamba kwa shingo, kama inalala inatoa chini. Ndio mimi nikashika.
But the work done by traditional snake handlers like Keegan can only go so far. Many snakebite victims barely make it to the hospital before either dying or having their limbs amputated. The 73-year-old, however, believes that with better understanding about the wild animals, more lives can be saved.
Kenya ako na mamba tatu. Huko Western Province ako na Chemson's mamba. Hakuna hapa. Alafu hapa Kerio Valley au hii area yetu ya Rift Valley yote iko black mambas kwa wingi. Hii sehemu za Kerio yote mpaka mwisho black mambas kwa wingi. Alafu Coast Province tuko na green mambas. Huko the green mambas nyingi.
But studying serpents is one thing. Treating snake bites is another. When we come back, Kenya's expensive quest to treat the world's most neglected tropical disease.
One antivenom will cost about 4,000 Kenya shillings.
And how the clash between science...
This can kill so many people. It can go even to about 10.
...and tradition... could help in coming up with East Africa's first locally produced snake antivenom.
now with new Optizorb technology to fight multiple tough pains with 3 times more pain-relieving medicine in the first 30 minutes when you need it most. Seeing them support themselves makes any pain worth it. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Krisi, tukiwapea mtawezana. The FKF Premier League is back, bigger and better. The rivalry. Sherehe bila hasira. FKF Premier League. Ni yetu, twende nayo. This Christmas season, get a StarTimes satellite dish at 2,699 shillings and an aerial decoder at 1,499 shillings. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
No matter what's going on in the world, there's one place you can go to stay up to date with the latest global news. The BBC News World Service app helps you go behind the headlines and make sense of what's going on around the world. And with a call to listen button, you can listen to live radio without using your data. Download the BBC News World Service app and start listening today.
Are you looking for a job? Or do you have a job opening and looking to hire? Well, look no further, because all thanks to the Standard Jobs, your search ends here. The Standard Jobs, the all-inclusive platform that helps bring together potential employees and employers, has a wide pool of talent and opportunities to pick from when it comes to finding what works for you. From blue to white-collar jobs, we've got them all. And that's not even the best part. For just 5 shillings per alert, we'll notify you of any opportunities coming your way, giving you the power to pick what works for you. Usiwachwe nyuma, grow with the Standard Jobs. Kazi sio kutafuta kazi. Visit jobs.standardmedia.co.ke and get hired today. For inquiries, call 0719012211 or email jobs@standardmedia.co.ke. The Standard Jobs. Find what works for you.
Right, the very compelling piece by TimothyOtieno, Victims of Venom, continues on Checkpoint in a bit. But first, let's tell you about other stories also making your headlines. And we are back home here with the Christmas season officially upon us. You have started traveling up country, of course, in order to enjoy the festivities with your loved ones. And as is the norm, a spot check by KTN revealed that matatu operators hiked fares even more this year as they try to recoup losses incurred from ferrying fewer passengers per trip earlier on in the year.
These were the scenes at different bus terminals here in Nairobi. Kenyans in their numbers seeking to travel up country for Christmas cheer. Fewer passengers than usual, perhaps an indicator of the harsh economic times that Kenyans are contending with. These passengers saying they have been stranded here for days, unable to get vehicle to travel home.
Bei imekuwa juu sana. Watu nao pia wamekuwa wengi. Bei magari zingine hata nimekuwa hapa jana nimekuja nimekosa. Haya leo pia nimejaribu hakuna. Sasa wacha nijaribu aidha kesho nione kama nitapata. Lakini bei imekuwa juu. Hali ya watu pia imekuwa mingi. Sasa ningeomba tu kama wanaweza tushukishia angalau bei kwa sababu tuna watoto, wengine wako manyumbani huko, wanataka kusafiri kurudi huku Nairobi.
As is the norm, fares were also hiked, with those to Western and Rift Valley regions routes almost being doubled.
Fare iko juu sana. So siku yenye nilikuja Nairobi, fare ilikuwa less, but now wameongeza na 800 shillings.
The public service vehicle operators have blamed these on social distancing measures.
Vile tulikuwa tunabeba full capacity, sasa imeshakuwa minimized. Kutoka tuseme shuttle ilikuwa inabeba watu 11, sasa inabeba 7. Ndio tukaonelea maana ukiweka hii watu 7 na ile normal price yenye tulikuwa tunabeba, hii gari hakuna kitu chenye inaweza bakisha. Ndio tukaona wacha tuongezee angalau tuone kama inaweza compensate.
The buses such as Easy Coach are already fully booked up to next year, much to the disappointment of those who sought to buy tickets on the day of travel.
Biashara yetu inaendelea kwa chini sana, na kama tuna run company non-profit making, na wafanyakazi wengi wamekuwa affected juu ya capacity ya gari, na hii gari vile capacity yake iko haitupatii sisi chochote. Tuna serve customers, manake tunataka kuwa serve, na hata fare tuja increase kwa kupenda customers wetu, na tu increase miaka zote.
These trends are expected to continue this week as Kenyans continue to make their way up country for Christmas and New Year celebrations. Sirajur Rahman Abdullahi, KTN News, Nairobi.
COVID-19 guidelines, however, discourage non-essential travel because of obvious reasons. Let's bring you back to the capital now. And after a minor hiccup on Friday, Nairobi County Assembly Speaker Benson Mutura is expected to be sworn in on Monday as acting governor of Nairobi County for the next 60 days. Now, the ceremony will likely continue without a hitch after ousted Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko alluded to no further contest following his unceremonious ouster. And as Jeff Kirui now reports, several politicians are now gearing to replace Sonko as the next governor in the impending by-election.
After the swearing-in of Nairobi County Assembly Speaker Benson Mutura as the acting governor got off to a false start on Friday, the ceremony is now expected to take place on Monday.
The governor should be sworn in between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So I can assure you tomorrow we are going to ensure that the speaker is going to be sworn in.
Mutura expected to lead the county for 60 days before a by-election can be held next year. And with this fate having been sealed, ousted Governor Mike Sonko has been taking to his social media pages all weekend, seemingly having resigned to fate. In one tweet he said, "As I said before, there is life after politics, and I'm excited to go back to my life and to be with the ordinary people who have been supporting me all my life." Sonko maintaining that the people of Nairobi remain firmly behind him.
Mike Mbuvi Sonko.
Meanwhile, the impeachment of Sonko as governor of Nairobi is already shaping up a political contest, pitting the so-called Kieleweke team against the Tanga Tanga team, a scenario that played out during the impeachment in Senate, as those perceived to be pro-President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga voted Sonko out, and those propagating hustler narrative voted in favor of Sonko.
Nairobi is a city which needs a sober person, a person who has studied, a person who has managerial skills. He doesn't need somebody who just comes in, wants to sow supremacy wars, like whatever you saw that Sonko was doing.
Those interested in filling Sonko's shoes, including some of his rivals in the 2017 gubernatorial poll, are expected to come out of the woodwork in coming days, with the ruling Jubilee and Handshake team expected to stop at nothing to solidify their position in the capital city county.
I can assure you for free, the politics of Nairobi is about handshake. If there will be a by-election in Nairobi, the candidate will win. Is a handshake governor.
Jeff Kirui, KTN News.
New KCC has embarked on an exciting journey of transformation. Transformation that has seen it modernize and upgrade its key processing facilities that are strategically located across the country.
The government has been very generous to understand that the importance of dairy in this country. That is why they supported the modernization program of New KCC.
New KCC, delivering life's goodness every day.
Having affected the standards we often considered normal, COVID-19 has been declared a global pandemic. Nearly half of all schools in Kenya don't have basic hand washing facilities, affecting 19 million children. With COVID-19, this is even more concerning. It's up to us to make hand hygiene a priority. Every child deserves safe hands. Together with Davis & Shirtliff and True Black, we, the Standard Group, have partnered to collectively unite other corporates and individuals alike to set up basic sanitation facilities around the country. As is our corporate responsibility, Individuals can also by identifying, nominating and submitting schools that are in dire need of sanitation and other basic facilities through nomination forms, which will be accessible both online and in hard copy in the standard newspapers. Our plan is to enable every child to survive through this pandemic and get a chance to fulfill their dreams. So, let's do it for them. Let's do it for our children, our future. For more information, send an SMS to the short code 40616 or email at standwithkenya@standardmedia.co.ke. Time to come together for tomorrow. It's our future. A partnership by Davison Shirtliff and True Black and the Standard Group.
Wengi husema ni njia ya kujifunza mambo na dhana mbalimbali. Wengine husema ni mchakato wa kupata ujuzi wa mawazo kwa upana, huku wengine wakitamatisha kwa kusema ni njia ya kufahamu tabia ya kitu au kiumbe. Wengi huwazia elimu kama daraja la ufanisi wao maishani. Wengi hudhani kwamba wanapohitimu katika chuo kikuu chenye hadhi na haiba nzuri wamepata elimu bora, na kwamba siku zao za usoni ni za matumaini na maisha bora. Wakati huo huo, kwa wengine elimu ni kusoma vitabu. Elimu inaweza kuwa mafunzo yatolewayo shuleni, vyuoni, maishani na kwingineko. Elimu hujumuisha mbinu kadhaa kama vile muhadhara, simulizi na kujifunza kupitia matendo. Kilichobayana ni kwamba elimu ni mwongozo na nuru ya mkondo wa ufanisi katika maisha yetu.
All still ahead, victims of Venom Part 2. But first, let's play. Midfielder Jackson Macharia seized the opportunity and scored the only goal for Tusker FC in a 1-0 win against Vihiga United in the FKF Premier League. Now, the results bring in to a total of 3 wins for the Breweries, who sit second on the log with 10 points behind leaders KCB.
Na ndio maana ujio wa Humphrey Mieno ambaye kwa sasa atakuwa akishirikiana pale tuone shambulizini ambalo Tusker
katika padashika Tusker ilikuwa ni mechi ngumu, angalia jinsi mambo yalivyokuwa.
Angalia mpira ulikotoka kule kwa mbali. Humphrey Mieno.
And Ulinzi team captain Nadia Court cemented the side 3-1 win against Kayole Starlets after a brace in the second half in round 2 of the FKF Women Premier League. Patricia Masse gave Ulinzi a first half lead as Kayole Starlets forward Faith Otieno equalized early into the second half. In other results, Kisumu All-Stars beat Oserian Ladies 3-1.
Strikers wangu wajachangamka venye nafaa. Then defense line yangu kiangalia venye imekuwa, tumekuwa na problem kubwa pia pande defense. Unaangalia tumefungwa na mtu mmoja ana break defense, so hiyo ndo tunaenda kuwakia. Pia speed ya wachezaji hiyo pia tunaenda kuwakia.
Nimefurahia sana, bear in mind that tulipata red card dakika 15, so kucheza tukiwa less hizo 75 minutes then kumanage kuget a win ya 3-1. Hiyo ni kitu nafurahia sana.
And elsewhere, Wananyuki lifted the Pwani Super Cup while at the same time pocketed 100,000 shillings worth of prize money after a 1-0 victory against Black Heroes in the finals. As the tournament came to a conclusion at the Freetown grounds, that's in Mombasa, 16 teams took part in the event, with outstanding players standing a chance to join soccer academies in Brazil beginning next year.
Kila mara wakija hata tukipata sponsor pia itakuwa zaidi vizuri sana kwa vijana kama sisi wa Pwani kuendelea kwa vipaji, tutafurahi sana.
Drugs imekula vijana wengi sana coast. Tukiangalia mambo ya violence extremism, na hii shida yote tunapata because vijana wetu wako idle. So this is a noble idea.
Mwaka ujao tunapanga kukua na kwa kizungu ambacho kitu tunaita soccer academies, na pia tutachagua wachezaji ambao wana talanta katika kila kaunti tuweze kuwapeleka ngambo ili waweze kupata mafunzo ya michezo.
And the Kenyan Jasiri national team got off to a brilliant start after bagging 12 medals during the first day of the Mombasa Open Tong Ilmodo International Championship. Now the players emerged winners in the first 4 events of the day, scoring 4 gold, 4 silver and 4 bronze medals respectively in a competition that is contested by 10 countries. Among the winners of the day are Kela Nyambura, who got a gold medal, while Catherine Myers bagged silver and Precious Mayar a bronze medal in the junior girls category, while Jonathan Banda, Harun Gatogo and Samuel Njaga got gold, silver and bronze respectively.
I'm very, very grateful to be here, and I'd like to really make this tournament successful. And also I want all the participants and also audience to be safe. Not even anybody should not be contaminated by the coronavirus.
We've been able to rally over 10 countries to come to this country, to come to Kenya, to participate in the Mombasa Open, and also to experience the beautiful country we have and all that we have to share.
And master shooter Ibrahim Ndungu of Seagers Limited emerged overall winner in the first ever USPSA Steel Challenge competition in shooting sports held at the Bamburi Rifle Club. Now, Ibrahim took on over 70 shooters, battling it out on 14 courses of fire for a top score of 79.97 points.
Sports is a growing sport in Kenya, and it's very new to Kenya. So it promotes safety handling of weapons in Kenya. So we, as Pembe Flamels, tend to support such type of events for safety.
The steel challenge and the paper target. The steel challenge is more of testing your accuracy. The paper target is testing both speed and accuracy.
Steel challenge is a very popular form of shooting sports right now worldwide, and it hasn't been introduced in the country. So we took the opportunity to run this type of challenge in Mombasa. This is a trial run, and hopefully in January we'll run a sanctioned steel challenge.
This is the Morning Vibes. Your breakfast will never be the same again. Positive vibrations on the Morning Vibes.
All right, on that note, we take a short break. Remember, just ahead, we still have Victims of Venom Part 2 coming up. But let's take a look at what's on your daily. That's on the Standard tomorrow. And this is it. Exodus in schools as the headline that will fly tomorrow. Make sure you grab your copy to learn why there is an exodus in schools. Of course, there are other stories, including BBI stories and COVID story and the striking medics. Those stories on your Standard tomorrow. Make sure you grab your copy as soon as you see one on the streets. Well, time now for a short break. We'd like to release our viewers on KTN Home. But if you still want to keep watching Venom, Victims of Venom on KTN News, please stay tuned because it continues right after this.
Mwaniki Mulatia and his wife show us what used to be the gravesite of their firstborn child.
Hapa ndiye alizikwa. Okay. Unaweza kumbuka hiyo siku?
The couple's son was a victim of a vicious venomous bite when he was just 3 years old. The snake bit the boy inside their house in Kitui and he soon passed away. That was more than 35 years ago. Yet Mzee Mwaniki's traumatic experience lives with him to this day.
Kuona nyoka ndio hatari. Ndio hatari sana. Kumeona. Sababu umekuwa vita kwangu.
It's for that reason that Mwaniki occasionally attends group sensitization exercises conducted by the Kenya Snakebite Research and Intervention Center. He keenly watches as trainer Stanley and nurse Cecilia demonstrate what to do when one is bitten by a snake.
Ya ndani ikue fupi. Sawa, kwa sababu gani? Ndio pia usiumize mgonjwa. Kishafunga mgonjwa wako hivyo, unafanya nini? Unaweza finya kucha yake ya mguu, uone kama nini? Kama damu inakuja. Ukishamfunga, utachukua mgonjwa wako, umuondoe kwa eneo la hatari.
Since the death of his son, the 70-year-old wants to learn all about snakes. His curiosity heightened by the fact that he too has at one time had a dreadful encounter with a red-spitting cobra, a snake all too common in the eastern parts of Kenya.
Ameweka mimi mate mengi sana. Wapo mecho hii yangu. Umeona hii mecho kweli umekuwa mzuri? Ni kabla ya namna hii.
But snake antivenom researchers are hoping such interactions between humans and these deadly wild animals will not lead to any calamity. At Kenya's Snakebite Research Center in Nairobi, we meet up with a team that has been dedicating time and effort towards developing a locally obtained snake antivenom. Currently, Kenya imports all its snake antivenom from abroad, a factor that makes treatment of snake bites in the country quite an expensive affair.
In most hospitals, one antivenom will cost about 4,000 Kenya shillings, and sometimes we end up using up to 12 vials on one person.
Yet, a majority of cases in Kenya occur in rural areas where not only do snakes bite, so too does poverty. Esther, who lost her leg to a snake bite, now entirely depends on her mother for her daily upkeep.
Can the government please help me? My daughter was the sole breadwinner. Now she has been incapacitated. I don't know what to do.
It is such pleas that motivate the country's lead snakebite researcher, Dr. George Omondi, to want to develop a local snakebite antivenom. Esther's leg was amputated simply because the antivenom injected into her system, Inosap, originally manufactured in Spain, did not react favorably to the tissue damage caused by the snake venom. But George, who has been researching on snakes in Kenya for close to a decade, believes Kenya's path to developing its own antivenom is necessary if more lives and limbs are to be saved.
Venom from the neurotoxic bites have components that vary from venom from the vipers. Yeah, so we constitute the venom, know which venom constituent it has. After that, we undertake what we call preclinical evaluation of these venoms.
The process George is talking about is a lengthy one, and it begins here at the country's largest snake research center, where we are introduced to a variety of snakes kept for research.
We are collecting these snakes from different geographical locations in Kenya. Like you can see, this red-spitting cobra is from Kilifi. Another one is from Baringo. Another one comes from Amboseli or Kajiado. So we are trying to check venom variation in different areas here. It doesn't look the same according to scientists. So that is why we are collecting each snakes from different areas.
The idea is to come up with an antivenom that can treat venom generated by snakes here in Kenya. Most of the antivenom in use in Kenya has been developed from snakes in Asia. Because of varied environmental factors, often the antivenom used seldom treats the disease here.
A lot of the medics out there who use these antivenoms will tell you some of the times the snakebite victims don't really die out of the snake bite incident itself, but from adverse reactions that arise due to the administration of the antivenom. So this has made our health workers afraid to administer this antivenoms.
Some of these side effects of these antivenoms sometimes usually cause respiratory distress. Some patients have difficulties in breathing after these antivenoms are administered.
Okay.
The first step of developing an antivenom begins with venom extraction. Today, Geoffrey and his team are getting the deadly liquid from a spitting cobra.
This can kill so many people. It can go even to about 7 to 10 people, because once you're bitten, this venom acts so fast.
Because venom is a protein which degrades once it leaves the venom glands of a snake, the sample has to be stored in a refrigerator at -20 degrees Celsius. The sample is later freeze-dried into powder form to be stored for prolonged periods of time without losing its viability.
Most of the times we take the powder and you actually mix it with phosphate buffered saline. So you mix it depending with the study that you want to carry out. So you can mix it with phosphate buffer saline or with an adjuvant. So there's Fred adjuvant and incomplete Fred's adjuvant. So those ones are now injected into the cattle or the large mammals that want to be used for the study.
With the help of the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Institute, the scientists keep 24 cattle used for testing the antivenom development.
For these particular animals, they have unique antibodies that we are trying to tap into that will enable the antivenoms we come up with work very effectively.
Small, non-lethal doses of snake venom is injected on the animals with near similar antibody generation like humans. These are either baboons, camels, rabbits, horses, or cattle. These cattle, for instance, have been under observation for the last 18 months, and the antibodies they've developed will go a long way in getting Kenya a step closer to developing its own antivenom.
We do routine management in terms of animal health. Napenda kupapaswa sana. Anaogopa sana wageni.
The blood sample from the animals is then separated into two.
The bottom portion is the red blood cells. They are usually heavy. And because we are interested in the plasma, because it has the antibodies, and those are anticoagulant factors. They're usually found in plasma. And actually when the snake bites you, the venom acts on the plasma.
But this process is likely to take between 5 to 15 years. Had the research begun years ago, people like 54-year-old Nzomo Mutinda would be telling us a different story. To date, he still lives with the scars of a snake bite he suffered from while still a child. He was tending to his father's cattle when he sat on a rock where a snake had been hiding. The snake bit him before disappearing into a nearby bush.
Wakati wengine nakaa tu inaanza kutopoka kama wakati unaona yeye imetopoka hapo tena.
He doesn't remember how the snake looks like, but the sting on his right foot is unforgettable.
Nilikuwa naendelea masomo. Lakini nikasoma nikapika darasa la 7 tu. Nikashindwa. Hata wajua wakati mwingine nilikuwa nasoma na kwa shida. Nikisoma hivi, hiyo mkuu inaanza kutopoka vitonda na kashini.
Interestingly, Nzomo never went to a hospital. His wound was treated by a traditional healer. The healers were very common back in the day and were renowned for treating snake bites. But remnants of the old age tradition still exist to date. At Kapkiruok village in Kabarnet, Baringo County, we meet up with the most famous woman of this village. Esther Yegoi is a renowned traditional snakebite healer. But don't let her looks fool you. This woman knows her craft.
Nimetibu watu 718. 18. Nilijaza na ya juzi nilitibu 3. ndio akafikisha hiyo.
She has garnered a reputation for using a traditional black stone to treat snakebite victims who often troop to her modest house for help. The belief is that the stone helps suck out the venomous poison injected into the system by a snake.
Anatingiza kaza, anavuta mpaka hapa anaanza kufura. Sasa unajua anafuta nini? Hiyo sumu ya nyoka. Anafanya hivi na hapa anaanza navura kufika hapa hivi. Angalau sasa hiyo nini anaanza mwenyewe kumuruka. Sasa wakati ya kuruka napindua. Hapa sasa ndio ataonesha madawa. Hapa ndio tutatoa naye. Tukimaliza nafinya hiyo sumu, finya hivi natoka, alafu tunarudia tena tunaweka hivi.
But medics dispute this theory, insisting that the only way to survive a snakebite is if you get treated with an antivenom.
It does not work. It works on the assumption that it absorbs the venom from the bite site. But then the venom is already in circulation. It's already been introduced into your bloodstream and it's circulating.
Most people, when they get bitten by a snake bite, usually go to a traditional healer first. Now, we looked at what these traditional healers are doing and realized that most often than not cause more damage to the victim than good. So we discovered that people don't really know what to do when matters around snake bites.
But Esther will hear none of that. She has lived off this trade for close to 30 years, and despite her advanced age and inability to walk, she is passing down the knowledge to her son.
Wakati hata hawezi mimi ndo nashughulika. Sometimes ananipea hata mtoto hii wiki mwezi wa 10 mimi ndio nilikuwa nashughulikia hiyo mtoto letu hapa.
For their services, Esther and her son demand no payment, but the traditional healers may be stepping in where the government has failed. Snakebite victims in Kenya have been disenfranchised for years. In 2013, the Wildlife Conservation and Management Act was amended to increase compensation for snakebite victims. Families of those killed by a snakebite would receive 5 million shillings, up from just 200,000 shillings. Compensation for injuries caused by a snakebite shot up from 50,000 Kenya shillings to 2 million shillings thanks to a parliamentary committee review. But in 2018, snakebite compensation was suddenly scrapped by the government thanks to recommendations by the Task Force on Human Wildlife Compensation Schemes led by Tourism and Wildlife Chief Administrative Secretary Joseph Boynet. The task force claimed that snakebite compensation claims were on the rise, thus bloating an already underfunded scheme. According to the Kenya Wildlife Service, 60% of 5 billion shillings set aside for wildlife attack compensation went into paying out snakebite claims. Now, snakes have permanently been removed from the list of wild animals to which compensation may be paid.
What informed the issue of that amendment 2018 is basically issue of the amounts involved. It was not becoming sustainable, and therefore it was seen it wise that it is excluded. And so it is not the ministry which is doing that. It went all the way. There was stakeholders engagement, it went to parliament, and that is how the amendment was passed.
But funding for snakebite research in Kenya has been a mirage. Dr. George Omondi and his team of scientists receive no funding from the government for their research. Instead, foreign donors have been filling that void.
We pay salaries. So the contribution of government in the first place is the fact that they are paying salaries for these researchers. And so when it comes to other materials, other equipment and etc., then occasionally we get support from the partners who are participating in this research.
So the research costs themselves could be up to 1 billion Kenya shillings, and we have up to another 1-2 billion Kenya shillings to put up a fully operational manufacturing facility for antivenom and related products.
It's an expensive affair.
It's a very expensive affair, and we've had some manufacturers who have pulled out of the antivenom market just because of the cost involved in the production. And we know that snakebite really affects the poorest of the poorest, I will say that. And so there's really no money in it unless now our government comes in to subsidize.
Despite the financial constraints, scientists remain hopeful that one day Kenya will be able to produce its own antivenom. An antivenom that will be more effective with less side effects and require less dosage to counter among the world's most neglected tropical diseases.
Kwanza sasa tukiona adui kwa hapa wewe unaruka hata mimi naye najitambaa najiwokoa. Kwani nitaongojee kwa maana mimi ni daktari? Hapana. Utaangalia kifo namna ya tu ngoja akukule. Uteresa kwanza kidogo kama kukufuata kwa bahati mbaya hiyo ni bahati mbaya hiyo. Lakini usingoje na kumbe alikuwa maziku bado.
The snake that causes a lot of amputations is the pufferder and also the red-spitting cobra, because these snakes will attack the tissue. They cause tissue damage.
All I want is for them to get her a prosthetic leg. That is all I want.